I don't need to say much. President Clinton not only was great in office, he's great after office. You know, he didn't retire to Palm Springs to play golf. He's out there doing stuff. He's helping people in Haiti. He's fighting AIDS. He's dealing with the victims of tsunamis. He's a guy who is mobilizing the highest spirit, the angels of our better spirits. And he's doing it. And that's the spirit I'd like to bring to California. And remember, when he was president, we had a budget surplus. The poor people did rise up the income scale. And it wasn't just all about tax breaks. I mean, we had the voodoo economics. Bush said, give me my tax breaks. And we got the worst meltdown and recession since the Great Depression. We don't want to go that way. So it's great to be standing next to the president who really gave this country some optimism and some excitement, some practicality, and wow, we're going to do the same thing in California. We're going to get this state moving, and we're going to, as Bill Clinton say, put people first. People come first, whatever their color, whatever their status, whatever their gender. People first. That was Bill Clinton as president. That's Bill Clinton as president emeritus. And someday I'm going to join him doing all that good work myself. President Bill Clinton.
Whoa. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for letting me come back to UCLA. I'm so glad to be here. I want to thank my very good friend, Mayor Villaraigosa, for being here, for bringing us on, and for giving my foundation the chance to work with the city of Los Angeles to put up thousands of LED street lights that create new jobs in America and reduce greenhouse gas emissions and prove it is good economics to fight global warming. And I want to thank your Chancellor Emeritus, Charles Young, who invited me to UCLA to speak on your 75th birthday, and I love that. Look, folks, California's been good to me, and for that I am grateful, and good to my family. And when I started this election season, I never dreamed that I would wind up being as active as I was. I sort of was compelled to get out a little bit because now I'm the only person in my family that can campaign. The Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense are not permitted to engage in electoral politics. But then I got out here and I realized what you've all heard, that we've got an electorate that is motivated, they say, the experts, by anger on the right and apathy on the left and amnesia all around, and they say, oh, this is going to be a terrible election. And my gut is it won't be if people are thinking. Now, so I asked Jerry and Gavin for permission to do this because I want to put their race in the context of the national political climate and what's going on. Because both the state and the federal issues are important to the students here. And if you are the same percentage of the electorate in this midterm election that you were in the presidential election, all the pollsters are wrong, and America will keep moving forward, and so will California for a change. So, what you have in America is a tale of two stories, which you see played out in California. The Republican story goes something like this. Hey, we left them in a $3 trillion hole, but they had 21 months to dig out, and they failed. They didn't dig us out, and they spent too much money and gave us too much government doing it. There's probably a little bit of a socialist predilection among the president and the members of Congress, and the same thing is true in every important state race in America. So put us back in. That's about what they're saying, isn't it? Okay, so the Democratic story is, well, we were in a big hole, and we couldn't get you out in 21 months, but we did stop digging. And we're moving out of this because we're focused on the future, dealing with the big things. And all we're asking for is 2 more years. You gave them 8 years to dig the hole. You at least ought to give us 4 years to get out of it. Now, meanwhile, no matter who governs Congress and what happens with the White House and the policy, it will matter enormously who the leaders of California are. Because you've had special burdens with your budget. You've had a crushing blow for years to education, beginning with kindergarten and going all through your universities. And yet you have more potential than any place on earth. It matters. So let me just tell you what I think about the national stuff and how it affects California. And talk a little bit about these 2 men, both of whom I know very, very well. So how do you know which story is right? Well, one thing that I want to recommend, since we're in football season, is for you to think about. Now, when we care about something in America that's really important to us, like football, we know the facts. I bet there are hundreds of men and women in this crowd that can go through all the details of that Texas game. Right? I mean, you remember, right? Because we care. It's important. But when something doesn't amount to a hill of beans, like the economic future of our children and the state of the current economy and how we're going to get out of it and what America looks like, we say, oh, don't bother me, I got my mind made up. I am mad and I know what I have to do. So essentially what the Republicans are saying is, okay, we coached you to several seasons where we were 2-9. And Barack Obama, he's been there for 21 months and he hadn't won the national championship yet. He's only going to be about 7-5. So throw him out, put the 2-9 coaches back in. We'll call the same plays on steroids. Now that's what it is. How are you supposed to know? Look, we can all have fun and I could tell you Tea Party stories till the cows come home. But I want to talk about your future. I've lived my life. And I lived my dreams. And I grew up in America where there was a strong and swelling middle class, and every poor person in this country thought that their kids could get out of poverty through an education, through a job, and through the future. And Jerry was kind enough to say this. I do. I spend my life now with my foundation trying to help other people live their dreams. Here and in places far away where people live on less than $1 a day. But intelligence and effort are pretty well equally distributed in this world. Opportunity is not. This is not about taking cheap shots. This is a conflict of ideas. For the national races in Congress, including Senator Boxer's seat and all the House seats up in California, and for the governor and the lieutenant governor. Everybody that's running for something has achieved something in life. The question is, who's more likely to give the same chance to everybody else? This is a conflict of ideas. Here's the only thing that matters. Where are we now? What should we do? Who is more likely to do it? Everything else is background music. Some of that background music's pretty funny every now and then, but it's background. Don't be diverted. This is your life. You need to know, where are we now? What are we going to do? Who's more likely to do it? Nothing else really matters. Okay, so